What if you could master the art of calm, control your emotions, and face life's challenges with unwavering strength? Welcome to the 10 Principles of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that's more relevant than ever in today's chaotic world. In the next few minutes, we'll explore the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, empowering you to live with purpose, clarity, and resilience. Ready to transform your mindset? Let's dive in. Number 1. Virtue is the highest good. In Stoic philosophy, virtue is considered the highest and most important good. Unlike material wealth, fame, or pleasure, things that are often fleeting and outside of our full control, virtue is something internal, something we can cultivate through our actions and thoughts. It represents moral excellence, the essence of living a good and meaningful life. Virtue as the only true good. For the Stoics, external circumstances or material possessions do not define our happiness or success. Instead, they argue that true happiness comes from living virtuously, making choices rooted in wisdom, integrity, and moral clarity. When we focus on developing virtue, we become self-sufficient, no longer dependent on things we can't control, and are better equipped to navigate life's challenges. Living in harmony with nature and reason. To live virtuously is also to live in alignment with nature and reason. Nature, for the Stoics, is not just the physical world but also the rational order of the universe. We are part of this greater whole, and to live well means to act in accordance with our rational nature. By using reason, we can better understand ourselves, our purpose, and our place in the world. Acting in harmony with nature means accepting the flow of life as it is and responding with wisdom and equanimity. Wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. The Stoics identify four cardinal virtues that form the foundation of a virtuous life. Wisdom is the ability to understand what is truly good and bad, and to make decisions based on knowledge and rational thought rather than impulse or emotion. Courage is not only physical bravery but also the strength to face adversity, confront fears, and act in the service of what is right, even in difficult circumstances. Justice means treating others with fairness, integrity, and respect, recognizing the interconnectedness of all people and acting in a way that benefits the greater good. Temperance is the practice of self-control and moderation, avoiding excess and remaining disciplined in the face of desires or temptations. By embodying these four virtues, Stoics believe we can achieve a life of purpose and fulfillment, regardless of external circumstances. Virtue, as the highest good, provides the foundation for true happiness and inner peace. Number 2. Control what you can, accept what you can't. In Stoic philosophy, one of the core ideas is the dichotomy of control, the understanding that some things are within our control, while others are not. This principle is fundamental in cultivating a peaceful and resilient mindset, helping us navigate the uncertainties of life with clarity and calm. Dichotomy of control. The dichotomy of control teaches us to distinguish between what we have influence over and what we don't. It's a simple but powerful framework. What we can control are our thoughts, actions, and reactions. This includes our judgments, decisions, and how we respond to challenges and situations. What we cannot control are external events, other people's actions, and outcomes that are beyond our influence, such as the weather, other people's opinions, or random accidents. By recognizing this distinction, we free ourselves from the stress and frustration of trying to control things that are out of our hands. The more we focus on what we can change, our own behaviors and attitudes, the more empowered and centered we become. Focusing energy on what's within your control, thoughts, actions. The Stoics advise us to invest our energy and attention on the things that we can shape, our thoughts, our actions, and the decisions we make every day. For example, we cannot control the traffic, but we can control our patience and how we respond to being late. We cannot control other people's opinions, but we can control how we behave toward them, choosing kindness or integrity. We cannot prevent challenges or setbacks, but we can decide to approach them with resilience and focus. This mindset shifts us away from frustration and helplessness. By practicing self-awareness and taking responsibility for our thoughts and actions, we reclaim control over our lives and how we move through the world. Accepting external circumstances as they are. While we focus on what we can control, Stoicism also teaches us to accept what we cannot control. External events, no matter how frustrating or undesirable, are often beyond our influence. Rather than resisting or lamenting these circumstances, the Stoics encourage us to accept them as they are. This doesn't mean passivity or resignation, it means embracing reality and responding with equanimity. For instance, if we lose our job, we can't control the economic factors or the decisions made by others, but we can control how we react. Do we respond with anxiety, or do we see it as an opportunity for growth? By accepting things as they are, we reduce our internal conflict and move forward more effectively. Number 3. Live according to nature. In Stoic philosophy, the concept of living according to nature is a cornerstone of living a virtuous and fulfilling life. This principle encourages us to align our actions, thoughts, and decisions with the natural order of the universe and our own rational nature as human beings. It is about understanding our place in the world and living with a sense of harmony and purpose. Aligning your life with nature's order and rationality. The Stoics believed that the universe operates according to a rational order, often referred to as the logos. This rationality governs everything, from the movements of the stars to the patterns in nature and the human mind. To live according to nature is to live in alignment with this universal order, understanding that everything happens for a reason, even if we don't always see or understand it immediately. By cultivating an awareness of the natural world and the laws of nature, we are reminded that our lives are part of a much bigger picture. We are not isolated beings, but interconnected with the world and its processes. In Stoicism, this idea leads to the understanding that we must act with wisdom and rationality, because these are the qualities that align us with the natural order of things. Understanding and accepting natural processes. To live in harmony with nature also means recognizing and accepting the natural processes of life. This includes birth, growth, change, and death. These processes are inevitable parts of existence, and the Stoics taught that we should neither resist nor resent them. Instead, we should accept them as natural, and embrace them as part of the human experience. For example, the Stoics believe that death is a natural process that is beyond our control, and instead of fearing it, we should focus on making our lives meaningful while we are here. Similarly, we cannot control the changing seasons or the cycles of nature, but we can embrace the impermanence of life and adjust our actions accordingly. By accepting the natural course of things, we free ourselves from unnecessary struggle. We stop fighting against what cannot be changed and, in turn, gain the peace that comes from this acceptance. The importance of self-awareness and living in harmony with the universe. Living according to nature also involves cultivating self-awareness. As human beings, we are gifted with reason, which allows us to understand the world and our place within it. The Stoics argue that to truly live in accordance with nature, we must develop a deep awareness of our own thoughts, feelings, and actions. By doing so, we can act in ways that align with our rational nature, leading to moral clarity and greater purpose. Self-awareness also means recognizing our role in the larger universe. We are not separate from nature but are an integral part of it. In every action we take, we can ask ourselves, is this in harmony with the world around me? This inquiry guides us toward actions that promote both personal growth and the well-being of the world. By living in alignment with nature and embracing the natural processes of life, we gain peace, purpose, and clarity. The Stoics believed that this approach would allow us to cultivate a virtuous life, one that is grounded in wisdom, acceptance. Number 4. Emotions are a result of judgment. In Stoic philosophy, emotions are not seen as random or uncontrollable forces. Instead, Stoics believe that emotions are the result of our judgments and beliefs about the world around us. This understanding gives us power over our emotional responses, because it means we can change how we feel by changing the way we think. understanding that emotions arise from beliefs and judgments. The Stoics teach that our thoughts shape our emotions. When something happens, we automatically judge the situation in a certain way, through a lens shaped by our values, beliefs, and expectations. These judgments then give rise to emotional reactions. For example, if we believe that being criticized is a sign of personal failure, we may feel anger or shame in response. If we view a setback as an insurmountable obstacle, we might feel despair or anxiety. In the Stoic view, it is not the external event itself that causes the emotion, but our interpretation of it. By adjusting our judgment of the situation, we can change our emotional response, transforming negative emotions into opportunities for growth. One of the most powerful aspects of Stoicism is its ability to turn negative emotions into opportunities for growth and self-improvement. Instead of being overwhelmed by emotions like anger, grief, or fear, Stoics encourage us to view these emotions as signals that can guide us toward personal development. For example, anger might indicate that we are attached to an expectation or desire that has been thwarted. Reflecting on why we feel angry can help us let go of unrealistic expectations and cultivate patience or forgiveness. Grief may arise from loss, but it can also be an opportunity to reflect on the preciousness of life and deepen our appreciation for the present moment. Anxiety often stems from fears about the future. By recognizing that we cannot control the future, we can shift our focus to what we can control in the present, helping us find peace of mind. By embracing emotions as opportunities for growth, we can use them to cultivate virtues like wisdom, self-control, and resilience. Managing anger, grief, anxiety through perspective and reflection. To manage our emotions, the Stoics emphasize the power of perspective and reflection. Here are some Stoic strategies to manage specific emotions. Anger. The Stoics advise that when we feel anger rising, we pause and ask ourselves, is this something I can control? Recognizing that anger often stems from unmet expectations, we can reframe our perspective, practicing forgiveness and tolerance instead of allowing ourselves to be consumed by rage. We might remind ourselves that others' actions are beyond our control and that we are responsible for how we respond. Grief. In dealing with loss or grief, the Stoics suggest focusing on the impermanence of life. By reflecting on the natural cycle of birth, life, and death, we can learn to accept loss with grace. Instead of dwelling in sorrow, we focus on cherishing the time we had with what we've lost and using it as motivation to live more fully. Anxiety. To manage anxiety, the Stoics recommend focusing on what is within our control and letting go of concerns about the future. We can practice mindfulness by bringing our attention to the present moment and taking action in the now. By breaking down a feared outcome into smaller, manageable steps, we replace overwhelming uncertainty with clear, rational action. In all cases, the Stoic approach is to recognize that our emotional turmoil is often a result of misguided judgments. Through reflection, we can shift our perceptions, leading to greater emotional stability. Number 5. Practice self-discipline. Self-discipline is a central tenet of Stoic philosophy, as it forms the foundation for a life of virtue, purpose, and inner peace. The Stoics understood that our desires, habits, and impulses often dictate our actions and, in turn, our outcomes. To truly live a life of freedom and meaning, we must cultivate control over these impulses and develop the inner strength to act in accordance with reason, rather than fleeting desires. Importance of controlling desires, habits, and impulses. In Stoic thought, desires and impulses are often seen as the sources of much of our suffering. We desire things we can't control, wealth, status, pleasure, and the approval of others, and when these desires go unmet, we experience frustration, disappointment, and anxiety. Habits that align with these desires, such as indulgence, procrastination, or avoidance of discomfort, reinforce this cycle of emotional instability. The Stoics teach that by controlling our desires and breaking free from unhealthy habits, we can achieve a greater sense of autonomy. Instead of reacting impulsively to the world around us, we are called to respond thoughtfully and with intention. For example, overcoming indulgence in food or drink helps us build strength of character, making it easier to say no to excess and avoid the distractions of fleeting pleasures. Controlling procrastination and other unproductive habits allows us to focus on what truly matters, such as personal growth, relationships, and meaningful work. Resisting impulsive reactions to emotions or situations gives us greater peace of mind, enabling us to act in accordance with our values, not our impulses. By practicing self-discipline, we free ourselves from being controlled by external forces and gain the ability to act according to what is truly important. Developing inner strength through consistent practice. Self-discipline is not a one-time effort, but a consistent practice that develops over time. Just as physical strength is built through regular exercise, inner strength is developed by consistently exercising control over our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the need for daily practice in building self-discipline. Peace. By eliminating unhealthy habits and destructive impulses, self-discipline leads to greater mental clarity and emotional stability. We become less reactive and more centered, leading to inner peace. When we manage our desires, we no longer feel driven by external circumstances or the need for validation. Instead, we become content with what we have and who we are. Success. True success, according to Stoicism, is not measured by wealth or recognition but by the ability to live a virtuous life in alignment with one's values. Self-discipline enables us to take consistent action toward our goals, even when the road is difficult or when distractions arise. It allows us to stay focused on what truly matters, making it possible to achieve long-term fulfillment and success. In both peace and success, self-discipline is the bridge between intention and action. By consistently exercising control over our desires and impulses, we create a life that is more aligned with our values, more productive, and more meaningful. Number 6. Seek wisdom over external pleasures. In Stoic philosophy, the pursuit of wisdom is considered the highest goal in life, far surpassing the pursuit of material wealth, fame, or fleeting pleasures. Stoics believe that wisdom leads to a virtuous life, one that is guided by reason, self-control, and virtue, and that external pleasures are transient and unreliable in comparison. Wisdom as the foundation of a good life. For the Stoics, wisdom is not just intellectual knowledge, but a deep understanding of what is truly valuable in life and how to live in accordance with nature and reason. Wisdom enables us to recognize what is within our control and what is not, so we can focus on meaningful pursuits. Make decisions that align with our core values, even in the face of external pressures or temptations. Navigate life's challenges with resilience, seeing obstacles as opportunities for growth. The Stoics teach that wisdom gives us the clarity and strength to live in alignment with virtue, which is the only true source of happiness. Unlike material pleasures, wisdom is lasting and can provide us with inner peace and fulfillment regardless of our external circumstances. The fleeting nature of material possessions and pleasures. Stoicism emphasizes the transitory nature of external pleasures and possessions. Wealth, luxury, and sensory pleasures, though they may provide temporary satisfaction, are ultimately unstable and beyond our control. They can be taken away at any moment through misfortune, loss, or changing circumstances. For example, material wealth may be accumulated through hard work, but it can be lost in a financial crisis or theft. Sensory pleasures, such as food, drink, or entertainment, provide brief satisfaction, but they are fleeting and often leave us wanting more, leading to a cycle of desire. The Stoics urge us not to place our happiness in these external sources of pleasure because they are unreliable and can never provide true fulfillment. Instead, contentment comes from within, through the cultivation of virtue and wisdom. In a world that constantly tempts us with more and more, Stoicism encourages us to reframe our desires and focus on what truly brings lasting peace and happiness. The Stoic rejection of excess and the pursuit of inner contentment. Stoicism advocates for moderation and a rejection of excess. While the world may encourage the pursuit of luxury, comfort, and indulgence, the Stoics believe that excessive attachment to these things can lead to addiction, dissatisfaction, and unnecessary suffering. In contrast, by seeking inner contentment through wisdom and self-discipline, we can lead a life that is more stable, purposeful, and fulfilling. Rejecting excess in material goods and pleasures allows us to live a life of simplicity and clarity. We can focus on the things that truly matter, our relationships, personal growth, and the development of virtue. Inner contentment comes not from accumulating more possessions or chasing after fleeting pleasures, but from cultivating gratitude, understanding, and self-control. By seeking wisdom and aligning ourselves with nature and reason, we come to understand that we already possess everything we need to live a fulfilling life. By rejecting the constant pursuit of external pleasures, the Stoics teach us to be content with what we have, finding peace in simplicity, and cultivating a mindset that values inner peace over material abundance. Number 7. The power of perception. In Stoic philosophy, perception plays a pivotal role in shaping our experiences and emotional responses. The Stoics argue that it is not the events themselves that determine how we feel, but rather how we perceive and interpret those events. By gaining control over our perception, we can transform the way we experience the world, shifting from frustration and anxiety to calm and resilience. How your interpretation of events influences your experience. The Stoics teach that we are not passive recipients of life's circumstances. Instead, our judgments and interpretations of those circumstances have a profound impact on how we feel. This is central to the Stoic principle that external events do not disturb us, it is our judgments about them that do. For example, a difficult situation, like losing a job, can be seen as a devastating setback, or it can be viewed as an opportunity for growth or a chance to pursue a new path. The difference lies in how we interpret the event. Criticism can be perceived as an attack on our character, leading to defensiveness and hurt, or as constructive feedback that offers valuable insight, leading to self-improvement. By recognizing that our interpretation of events shapes our experience, we realize that we have the power to shift our perception and change how we feel and respond to life's challenges. Reframing negative situations into opportunities for growth. One of the most powerful tools in Stoic philosophy is the ability to reframe negative situations. Stoics encourage us to see obstacles not as threats, but as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. This reframing is not about denying the reality of hardship or pretending that challenges don't hurt, but about choosing a perspective that empowers us to learn and grow from difficult circumstances. For example, if we fail at something, instead of viewing it as a personal failure, we can see it as a valuable lesson in resilience and adaptation. If we face rejection or criticism, instead of taking it personally, we can reframe it as a chance to reflect on our actions, improve, and refine our approach. By embracing a mindset that views challenges as opportunities for growth, we reduce the emotional impact of negative situations and turn them into stepping stones toward a better version of ourselves. Control over one's reactions to external stimuli. A central tenet of Stoicism is the idea that we cannot control external events, but we can always control our reactions to those events. This gives us immense power over our emotional state. When faced with challenging or stressful situations, the Stoics advise us to pause and take a step back before reacting. This moment of reflection allows us to choose how we respond, rather than reacting impulsively or emotionally. For example, if someone cuts in front of us in traffic, instead of reacting with anger, we can choose to let it go, recognizing that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control our own response. If we receive unexpected news that causes anxiety, we can pause, take a deep breath, and reframe the situation by focusing on what we can control, our next steps, our attitude, and our efforts to address the challenge. By practicing control over our reactions, we free ourselves from being at the mercy of external circumstances and emotional triggers. We take back our power and create a life of peaceful resilience. Number 8. Embrace adversity as opportunity. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is that adversity is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be embraced as a powerful opportunity for growth. The Stoics believed that challenges, setbacks, and hardships are integral to developing resilience, strength, and wisdom. By shifting our mindset to view adversity as a chance to grow, we can navigate life's difficulties with greater purpose and clarity. Viewing challenges as opportunities for growth. Rather than seeing challenges as setbacks or punishments, Stoicism encourages us to view them as opportunities to develop virtues like courage, patience, and wisdom. For instance, when faced with adversity, a failure can be reframed as a chance to learn and refine our skills, helping us grow stronger and more capable. A difficult relationship can teach us about compassion, understanding, and the importance of emotional intelligence. Financial or career setbacks can serve as moments to evaluate our goals and values, encouraging us to pursue more meaningful and aligned endeavors. The Stoics often reflected on the idea that hardship reveals our character. Challenges strip away the surface-level distractions, showing us who we truly are and offering the potential to grow into our best selves. In this light, every obstacle becomes an opportunity to build the qualities that make us resilient and virtuous. Developing resilience in the face of hardship. Resilience is central to Stoic practice. The Stoics believe that true strength comes not from avoiding difficulty but from learning to face it with equanimity and resolve. Resilience is about adapting to adversity, rather than being defeated by it. It's the ability to stay grounded and remain focused on our purpose, no matter what life throws at us. Emotional resilience allows us to endure pain or discomfort without being overwhelmed by it, maintaining a calm and composed demeanor even in difficult circumstances. Mental resilience helps us stay focused on our goals and values, reminding ourselves that setbacks are temporary and often outside of our control. Physical resilience encourages us to embrace physical discomfort or challenges as ways to build endurance, making us more capable of handling future hardships. The Stoics taught that resilience is cultivated through consistent practice. By deliberately facing difficult situations with patience and reflection, we become more adept at handling adversity over time. Each challenge is an opportunity to train and strengthen our inner resolve. Using obstacles to build strength and understanding. Instead of avoiding obstacles, Stoicism teaches us to lean into them. Each difficulty is a chance to build both strength and understanding. For example, overcoming fear in the face of uncertainty helps us develop courage and clarity, teaching us that fear itself is often worse than the reality we face. Dealing with loss or disappointment can help us develop empathy, deepen our appreciation for life, and accept the impermanence of all things. Facing criticism or rejection can teach us humility and the importance of focusing on what we can control, our actions and responses, rather than seeking external validation. By intentionally reframing obstacles as opportunities, we can use adversity to deepen our wisdom and expand our capacity for compassion, turning every setback into a building block for personal and moral development. The Stoic attitude toward adversity is not to view it as an enemy, but as a teacher, one that can help us grow stronger and more virtuous if we approach it with the right mindset. Number 9. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is a core principle in Stoic philosophy, rooted in the understanding that appreciating what we have can lead to greater peace, contentment, and happiness. Rather than focusing on what we lack, Stoicism encourages us to practice gratitude by recognizing and valuing the blessings in our lives. This perspective shifts our mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance, helping us cultivate deeper fulfillment in even the simplest aspects of daily life. The Stoic practice of acknowledging what we have. For Stoics, gratitude is not just an emotional reaction, but a practice, an intentional act of acknowledging and appreciating the things, people, and experiences that contribute to our well-being. This practice is deeply intertwined with the Stoic understanding of what is truly valuable. The Stoics believe that we should focus on what is within our control, which includes how we view our circumstances and what we choose to appreciate. The Stoics advocate for regularly reflecting on the positive aspects of our lives, such as good health, a gift that many take for granted until it is lost. Relationships, the love and support of family, friends, or even fleeting connections that can enrich our lives. The present moment, the opportunity to experience life and to shape our thoughts and actions in a meaningful way. The Stoic practice of gratitude involves pausing throughout the day to acknowledge these blessings, even during challenging times. By doing so, we cultivate a mindset of appreciation and contentment, regardless of external circumstances. Cultivating an attitude of gratitude in daily life. Gratitude is not something to be practiced just on special occasions but should be woven into the fabric of daily life. Stoics encourage making gratitude a daily habit, even during moments of struggle or discomfort. One way to do this is through daily reflection, taking time at the end of each day to consider the things we are grateful for. This simple practice helps shift the focus away from complaints and dissatisfaction and towards an appreciation for what we have. Another Stoic technique is the practice of negative visualization, imagining the loss of things we value, such as our health, loved ones, or possessions. While it may seem morbid, this practice is meant to deepen our gratitude for what we currently have by reminding us of its impermanence. By consciously acknowledging that everything we possess is temporary, we can learn to appreciate it more fully. In addition, the Stoics encourage gratitude for life's challenges, as they offer opportunities for growth. Even in adversity, we can be grateful for the lessons and strength they bring, recognizing that hardships are a natural part of the human experience. Understanding that life's impermanence makes every moment precious. A fundamental insight in Stoicism is the recognition that life is fleeting and that nothing is guaranteed. Our time on this earth is limited. 10. Memento Mori, reflect on mortality. The principle of memento mori, a Latin phrase that translates to remember you must die, is one of the most profound and impactful practices in Stoic philosophy. This simple reminder has a far-reaching influence on how we live our lives. It is not meant to evoke sadness or fear, but rather to inspire action, clarity, and a deeper sense of purpose. By regularly contemplating our mortality, Stoicism offers a framework for focusing on what truly matters, while helping us free ourselves from the distractions, anxieties, and trivialities that often govern modern life. The concept of memento mori in Stoic philosophy. At its core, memento mori emphasizes the transient nature of life and the certainty of death. The ancient Stoic philosophers, including Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, all advised that acknowledging the reality of death is not only inevitable but essential for living a fulfilled life. The practice of memento mori is about embracing mortality, not as something to fear, but as something that enriches our appreciation of the present moment. For the Stoics, death was viewed not as an end to be avoided or feared, but as a natural part of life's cycle. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This statement serves as a reminder that life is unpredictable, and that no one knows when their time will come. Therefore, it becomes all the more important to live intentionally and make the most of each day. In a world filled with distractions, the practice of memento mori pulls us back to the present moment, helping us focus on what is truly important. It provides the clarity to make better decisions, prioritize relationships, and engage in pursuits that contribute to our personal growth and the well-being of others. By reflecting on the brevity of life, Stoicism teaches us to recognize the urgency of living with purpose, compassion, and mindfulness. The importance of remembering that life is finite. One of the most significant aspects of memento mori is the reminder that life is finite. In our fast-paced, modern world, it's easy to forget that time is our most precious resource. Unlike money or possessions, time cannot be replenished once it is gone. Each moment that passes is lost forever, making it essential to use our time wisely. Stoicism teaches that by recognizing the impermanence of life, we are encouraged to live with greater awareness and urgency. We should not squander our time on trivial pursuits or things that do not align with our values. Instead, we must act with intention, making each day count. This awareness of mortality also helps us put our everyday struggles and challenges into perspective. Often, we become overwhelmed by small inconveniences, like a bad day at work, an argument with a friend, or an unexpected setback. But when we remember that these moments are fleeting in the grand scheme of our lives, it becomes easier to detach from frustration and focus on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius' reflection on mortality. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, often meditated on the inevitability of death as a means of motivating himself to live virtuously and intentionally. He frequently reminded himself that life is short and uncertain, encouraging himself to act in ways that would leave a meaningful legacy. One of his famous meditations reads, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This powerful reflection serves as a call to action. If we truly understood the brevity of life, we would live with greater urgency and purpose. The idea of death is not something to be feared, but something to be acknowledged and embraced as a tool for clarity. When we fully grasp that our time on earth is limited, we are better able to evaluate our choices, align our actions with our values, and avoid being distracted by the insignificant worries of daily life. Living each day with purpose and intention. The practice of memento mori calls us to live each day with purpose and intentionality. When we reflect on our own mortality, we are confronted with the reality that we do not have infinite time to accomplish all our goals. This awareness encourages us to be mindful of how we spend our time, and to ensure that each day is meaningful. Living with purpose requires us to examine our values and make conscious choices that align with our deepest beliefs and desires. It involves being present in the moment, rather than allowing our minds to wander or fixate on past regrets or future anxieties. The awareness of our mortality helps us prioritize what is truly important in life: our relationships, personal growth, contributions to society, and living in accordance with virtue. One of the ways the Stoics practiced purposeful living was by reflecting on the question, how can I live today in a way that is aligned with my values and goals? By asking ourselves this question each day, we cultivate a sense of urgency to act on our aspirations and take steps toward the person we wish to become. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment or ideal conditions, we are reminded that life is fleeting and that the time to act is now. Using the awareness of mortality to prioritize what truly matters. In addition to living with purpose, memento mori also helps us prioritize what truly matters in life. In the face of death, many things that once seemed important, status, wealth, external validation, are revealed to be insignificant. What remains important are the intangible aspects of life, such as meaningful relationships, personal development, and contributing to the well-being of others. 1. Relationships. Knowing that our time is limited helps us recognize the value of relationships. When we reflect on the fact that we do not know how much time we have with the people we care about, we are encouraged to invest more in these connections. We are reminded to cherish the moments we have with loved ones, to express gratitude, and to nurture our relationships with kindness and respect. The practice of memento mori teaches us to make time for the people who matter most, whether it's spending time with family, deepening friendships, or reaching out to those in need. It reminds us to show appreciation for the time we have with others and to never take these relationships for granted. 2. Personal growth. Memento mori also prompts us to focus on our own personal growth. As we reflect on our mortality, we become aware that there is limited time to achieve the things that matter most, such as cultivating wisdom, becoming a better person, and living in alignment with our values. This awareness compels us to make self-improvement a priority. In the Stoic tradition, personal growth is inseparable from the pursuit of virtue. The Stoics believed that the cultivation of wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice was the most valuable use of our time. By practicing memento mori, we are reminded that our personal development is not something to be put off, but something to pursue with urgency and commitment. 3. Letting go of distractions. The awareness of mortality also helps us detach from distractions that do not serve our long-term well-being. Stoicism teaches us that fame, wealth, and the approval of others are fleeting and ultimately inconsequential when we face the reality of death. By embracing memento mori, we can free ourselves from the desire for external validation and focus on what truly brings us fulfillment. Many of us spend our time chasing things that ultimately do not bring lasting happiness or satisfaction. Whether it's striving for material possessions, competing for status, or seeking approval from others, these pursuits are ultimately distractions from what really matters. By reflecting on our mortality, we are reminded that time is too precious to be spent on things that do not align with our deepest values. 4. Embracing gratitude. Memento mori encourages us to live with a sense of gratitude. The reminder of our own mortality shifts our focus from what we don't have to what we do have. Rather than taking life for granted, we begin to appreciate the small, often overlooked moments that make life meaningful, like a quiet walk, a heartfelt conversation, or the beauty of nature. Incorporating gratitude into our daily lives allows us to embrace the present moment and find contentment in what we already possess. As the Stoics taught, happiness does not come from external circumstances, but from an internal attitude of appreciation and acceptance. Memento mori serves as a powerful tool for cultivating gratitude, reminding us that life is precious and fleeting, and that every moment is an opportunity to savor. The practical benefits of memento mori. The practice of contemplating our mortality is not only a philosophical exercise but a practical tool for improving our daily lives. By reflecting on the certainty of death, we can better navigate life's challenges and avoid being overwhelmed by fear or anxiety. Memento mori serves as a constant reminder to act with urgency, prioritize what matters, and live with purpose. 1. Reduced fear of death. By confronting the reality of death, we can reduce the fear that many of us have about it. The Stoics believe that fear of death arises from our attachment to life, and that by acknowledging its inevitability, we can accept it with grace and dignity. This acceptance allows us to live more fully without being paralyzed by the fear of our eventual demise. 2. Increased resilience. When we understand that life is short and unpredictable, we become more resilient in the face of adversity. Rather than dwelling on hardships or setbacks, we focus on how we can learn and grow from them. The awareness of mortality encourages us to approach difficulties with a sense of purpose, knowing that our time is limited and that every challenge is an opportunity for growth. 3. Enhanced clarity of purpose. Memento mori provides clarity by helping us see what is truly important. It encourages us to reevaluate our goals and make sure that our actions are aligned with our deepest values. This clarity helps us prioritize our time and energy, ensuring that we invest in pursuits that will bring us meaning and fulfillment. Conclusion: embrace mortality, live fully. In conclusion, the Stoic practice of memento mori stands as a profound invitation to embrace the finite nature of life, not as a source of despair, but as a catalyst for living with greater intentionality, purpose, and joy. This practice is not about focusing on death in a negative or morbid way, but rather about allowing the awareness of our inevitable mortality to shape how we engage with each moment. The understanding that life is fleeting can, paradoxically, lead to a fuller, richer existence. Living with urgency and purpose. Memento mori encourages us to live with urgency, but not in the sense of rushing through life or acting out of desperation. Instead, it compels us to approach each day with mindfulness and purpose, making deliberate choices that align with our deeper values and aspirations. When we acknowledge that our time is limited, it becomes clear that wasting it on trivial pursuits, fleeting pleasures, or things that don't align with our core beliefs is a disservice to ourselves. This principle of urgency is not about anxiety or hurry, it's about acting with purpose and making conscious decisions about how we spend our most valuable resource, our time. We begin to focus on what truly matters, directing our energy toward relationships, personal growth, meaningful work, and moments of fulfillment, instead of being distracted by the superficial concerns that often occupy our minds. Cultivating gratitude for life. One of the most powerful gifts of memento mori is its ability to cultivate gratitude. When we reflect on our mortality, we begin to recognize the beauty in the mundane, the value of the present moment, and the significance of what we often take for granted. Every breath we take, every experience we have, becomes more precious because we are reminded that nothing is guaranteed. Gratitude, cultivated through the lens of mortality, helps us savor life's simple pleasures. It invites us to appreciate the love of our family and friends, the small victories, the lessons learned through hardship, and the fleeting moments of happiness and peace. By embracing memento mori, we develop a deeper appreciation for both the extraordinary and the ordinary aspects of life, and we start to see the richness in every moment we are fortunate enough to experience. Prioritizing what truly matters. Memento mori also serves as a tool for prioritization. When we reflect on the fact that our time is finite, we are encouraged to distinguish between what is truly meaningful and what is not. This clarity of vision allows us to focus our time and energy on relationships, personal growth, creativity, and other pursuits that bring lasting fulfillment. This prioritization is particularly important in a world that often encourages the pursuit of external success, money, fame, status, and approval from others. While these things are not inherently bad, the practice of memento mori urges us to question whether they are truly worth sacrificing our time and energy for. By regularly reminding ourselves of the brevity of life, we free ourselves from the grip of societal expectations and focus on what brings us genuine happiness and a sense of purpose. For example, relationships with loved ones become a top priority when we realize that time with them is limited. Instead of waiting for the perfect time to nurture these connections, we recognize that the present moment is the only one we can truly control. We make time for those we care about, show them appreciation, and embrace the opportunities to create memories that will last. Similarly, personal growth becomes a more intentional focus. We realize that we are not promised unlimited time to become the best version of ourselves, so we take deliberate steps toward self-improvement and wisdom. We pursue learning, embrace challenges, and develop virtues like courage, justice, and temperance, knowing that these qualities will remain long after our time on earth has passed. Resilience and acceptance. In addition to living with purpose and cultivating gratitude, memento mori also helps us build resilience. When we reflect on the certainty of death, we begin to accept that life is unpredictable and sometimes painful. Instead of resisting challenges, setbacks, or hardship, we learn to face them with courage and grace. We become more adaptable, understanding that every obstacle is part of the human experience and an opportunity for growth. The awareness of our mortality also helps us develop the ability to let go of the need for control. While we can take steps to live well and pursue our goals, we cannot control when our life will end. Embracing this truth helps us relinquish unnecessary fears and anxieties, allowing us to approach life with greater peace and acceptance. Living with clarity and fulfillment. Ultimately, memento mori is a call to live fully, to embrace each day with a sense of intentionality and fulfillment. Rather than being overwhelmed by the enormity of life's challenges or fixating on external success, we are reminded to focus on what truly matters. By reflecting on mortality, we live with a deeper sense of clarity, prioritizing what aligns with our values and goals. The key takeaway from the practice of memento mori is this: life is short. It is uncertain. But it is also incredibly precious. When we live with the awareness that our time is finite, we develop the motivation to live more fully, with greater focus and deeper meaning. We are compelled to use our time wisely, to live authentically, and to create lives that are rich with purpose, wisdom, and love. By embracing mortality, we find the freedom to live without fear, to focus on what truly brings us happiness, and to leave behind a legacy that reflects our highest values. As the Stoics taught, we should live as if each day is our last, but also as if we have all the time in the world to live virtuously. This delicate balance allows us to experience the fullness of life, every moment, every connection, every challenge, with mindfulness and gratitude. A life well lived. Incorporating memento mori into our daily lives is more than a philosophical exercise, it's a practical tool for creating a life well lived. The practice teaches us to stay grounded in the present moment, to make choices based on what we value most, and to savor the time we have, knowing it is a gift. It reminds us that every day is an opportunity to live in alignment with our deepest truths and to make a meaningful contribution to the world around us. As we reflect on our mortality, we begin to live with more intention, more awareness, and more love. And in doing so, we become the architects of our own lives, creating a legacy that is defined not by the number of years we live, but by the quality of those years and the impact we have on others. By embracing memento mori, we free ourselves from the trivialities of modern life and reconnect with what is truly important, living fully, with purpose, and in harmony with our highest values. Life is fleeting, but it is also beautiful.